Hello guys and girls, how's it going?
Great camera stability there, like...
Shut up.
No.
Off to see Mortal Engines tonight.
Yes!
Yes, so
Yes!
we're getting dressed
The
up
towns
for it.
go from from!
Exactly, much room.
Yep.
We get to dress up for it, so we are indeed dressing up for it.
Yes, we're getting all fancy.
Absolutely. So we'll probably get back to you. I'll probably add some pictures and things like that, and then we'll get back to you with a review of the film.
Yeah.
Yep. Catch you later.
No, I did not just nearly do the wrong time.
Timing's off.
I say, don't you know? You say you don't know. I say, take me out. Time is slow. I say, take me out.
Well, hello guys and girls, how's it going? Screezel here.
And Steam and Sticks.
And we have just watched
Mortal Engines.
by Peter Jackson.
It is a post-apocalyptic movie about there has been a massive, it's a 60-second war, and so now all the cities, not all the cities, some cities have now put themselves on wheels, so everyone is on wheels and going to each location to try and find resources for everyone on said now mobile city.
Yeah. So this movie is actually an adaptation of a book of the same name, I believe.
Yes.
And we're going to get into spoiler territory pretty soon. So before we do, if you want to see the movie first before you hit spoilers, we're going to give a little opinion now, and then after that, come back afterwards, give us a watch if you want to watch with spoilers. So, with the movie,
Loved it.
Yeah,
I thought it was great. I really liked the world. Looked logical to me.
the world kind of makes sense, even though it doesn't make sense. You look at the Mortal Engines and you think they don't make sense, but they do. And in this world, it makes sense to have them. And the whole world building is fantastic in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's really enjoyable.
I think everything just looks right, and we're introduced to, I would say, a different type of city. And again, it's just like this works. Like this is a thing.
The world feels very real and alive, and that's really good. And especially for a sort of new, although it's based on a book, for a kind of a new IP, for something that's not actually, something that's not out there, something that is completely different. It's a really cool movie for that.
It's very good, because if this movie was made back in the day, I would probably say it may or may not have gone as well. If not, it would have been like very expensive, because everything's basically CGI, because the entire cities are these massive mechanical.
There is actually a
bots and all
lot
that.
of props, and there's a lot of. I don't think that all the cities were CGI. I reckon there was a lot of miniature work, things like that. I've not looked into it, but it does feel
like
so.
we've just seen the movie. This is just what we're.
This is
This
literally
is just what we're ranting about.
our sort of post-movie talk. So
Yeah.
the actual effects, there's quite a few practical effects in it, and that does really help the movie, because when you've just got constant CGI, it doesn't look very good. But when you've got practical effects, they don't age really. The best way I can put it is it's very much like Lord of the Rings for its effects. There are those real spectacular special effects, but there's also that miniature work, that practical effect work that makes it feel more realistic. And this movie definitely has that feel to it. It's very cool.
Would you recommend it for someone else who is maybe contemplating it?
Absolutely. I would really recommend this. I'd recommend this movie highly to anyone, especially anyone interested in steampunk. If you're a steampunk fan, you're gonna love it. If you're, it's the best way I can put it. It kind of has like a Star Wars but steampunk vibe to it. It's got that sort of vibe to it, and it is very cool in that respect. So I would really recommend going and watch this movie before you watch the rest of this if you've not seen it. Absolutely well worth a watch. You're gonna really enjoy it, and young adults are gonna enjoy it as well. I think kids are gonna really enjoy this movie. They're gonna find it very entertaining. It's got a story that works for both, you know, young audiences and more grown-up audiences. So yeah, really would recommend this movie. What about your thoughts, Sticks?
I really liked it. I'm gonna have to be a downer and be like, I don't agree with you on saying it's, you know, maybe a younger kids thing, because on a movie that I saw that was kind of aimed at kids purely because it was animated, it had a very sad story, and I think this kind of has the same thing. So I feel like because it's not fun and just all these
for kids, I mean around about the 14, 15.
oh yeah, like
young adult kids.
Adolescents, yeah, that'd be great. Like,
I don't mean don't take your 4-year-old to this.
Yeah, no. Yeah, definitely teenager upwards would definitely enjoy it, I reckon.
Sorry, I'm just old. I call everybody kids these days because they're just kids to me. Damn kids with their hair and their
Anyway,
talking.
shall we get into spoilers?
Yes. So, if you don't want to hit spoilers, then pause the video now and come back later. We'll give you a couple of seconds.
That is London.
60 minutes is all it took to bring humanity to the very brink of extinction. Mankind mobilized. A new age arose. The age of the great predator cities. Survival of the fastest.
Watch out! Valentine. This is for my mother. Stop her! Tom! Ask him why he murdered my mother.
I'm sorry you had to hit her. As to shore, she won't stop until I'm dead.
Unless you kill her first.
I want them found.
I've been looking for you for a long time. Your mother, she said she had found something dangerous. She was afraid of Valentine, of what he might do.
The man who controls this, controls the world.
She said that you could stop him.
This weapon can wipe out the largest city in the blink of an eye.
Not if we shut it down.
Nothing can stand in the face of this.
We have to stop London before it destroys us. You sure you want to do this? Once we go in, there's no going back.
I have to.
Sticks, away you go.
Alright, well, where do I even begin?
Well, we start off with a small, well, with a ginormous city, like almost a town, like a massive sort of city town, with a young girl on it. She's looking through binoculars. Like
Spyglass.
Yes.
Spyglass, binoculars, I would
It's
probably
kind of
also
hard.
say.
Yeah.
She's on watch almost.
She's watching out. And it's obviously a trading hub. You know, you've got traders everywhere, things like that. And this place is huge. It looks magnificent. and then all of a sudden, in the distance,
Literally,
London.
the big smoke, London comes into it.
Yeah, and it's almost like a very Victorian London. It's got all the landmarks on it. One really cool feature I saw is the tram system for them getting around was actually the London Eye.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, so they've used landmarks incredibly well, and it looks really, really cool. It's kind of, you know, you look at it and it doesn't really make that much sense, but it kind of goes, you know, well, I guess they would actually keep their landmarks because they're proud to have it. They're proud to have the history. And this thing is massive. Like, it's a mechanical behemoth. The best way I could put it is if you've played Warhammer 40k, what's it called? Battlefleet Gothic. It's got that vibe to it. You know, it's just, it's ridiculous, but it's amazing at the same time. So this thing comes in, and all of these smaller trading towns and mining vehicles disperse, and you're treated to a fantastic scene.
Because what London is doing, they're trying to steal whatever they can from whatever kind of, you know, other little kind of town to scab its resources.
And basically they eat up the town and chew up its metal
So
to power their engine.
Yeah, so the benefit of having all the towns or cities or villages or whatever mobile is they can just go to and from resource to resource and just take what they need and then move off to somewhere else.
Exactly. So London comes in and captures this town, and it's a sort of Germanic town. Really cool action scene. But I think that the main character, I've forgotten her name, I'm terrible with names. Hester. She actually wanted to be captured, and so she chose this city to be on because she knew it would probably get captured.
Yeah. And how it gets captured is it's literally like gobbled up and like
harpooned.
Like harpooned, and literally like it's a mouth opens up, arms come out, and it just grabs it and sucks it in.
Yeah, it's very much like it's almost like watching like Nat Geo and having the predators and prey, you know. And these giant cities are the predators.
And of course all the people of London as well are just cheering, and like they've got another one, and along the way as well in a like their ending kind of boss fight or fight scene, they're cheering on what they're doing, but it's also like, do they know that everyone else sees them as the bad guys? Like, do they understand what they are to other people? One thing I really liked in this movie is the fact that they actually classed the general citizens, the workers and all of that stuff as just civilians. They weren't classed as evil. You know, one of the things that bothers me in Star Wars, for instance, is with the Death Star. They blow up the Death Star and it's full of civilians, it's full of contractors, it's not full of just evil people. They kill countless numbers. Whereas London, when it captures people, it doesn't kill them. Yeah, it lets them, it's like, we're going to give you jobs, we're going to have you're going to have somewhere to live, you're going to have a new life, it's going to be great. And I was actually like really taken aback by it. I was like, oh my god, they're not prisoners, like they're going to just live with them. That's actually pretty cool. That's it. And we're introduced to one of the main antagonists. Yeah. Hugo Weaving, he's bae, I love him. Yes. So Hugo Weaving comes in, and he seems like an okay guy, but obviously he's evil. And he plays a really good character. His character's got a very good backstory to it. Like with the spoilers, we're not going to go into everything here, but you know, he's got the backstory of this super weapon, this weapon that basically tore the world apart, fractured continents, things like that, called the Medusa. And what it is basically, what was it? It was a quantum... I don't even know. It was just something that had just, as, you know, I'm not going to say anything scientific here, but it basically, I would say it almost, when it was shot, made like, almost kind of sucked it all up into a black hole for a brief second, and then it exploded everything back out. It basically creates a black hole, and then it expands exponentially, and then causes a massive explosion from that. Now, this Medusa weapon that they've got on board the London city is obviously not quite as powerful. He's been building it in secret. Yeah, he's been finding the pieces over time, and our protagonist Hester, he killed her mother trying to find the part for it. So she's out to kill him because he killed her mother.
exactly.
She has a pretty good stab at it.
Yes.
She sees him and immediately basically goes for it. Unfortunately, she stopped and then, you know, she runs away.
She's stopped by Tom.
Yeah.
Tom stops her.
Tom's a pretty neat guy when you get to know him.
Again, he's another one of the main characters. Now, he stops her, chases her down. She ends up falling out a exhaust port for where all the rubbish goes, all the bits of the city that they don't need. And so, basically, she lands outside of the city in the
they're in like the tracks of the city they wake up in.
So they end up there, and Tom is pushed out by Hugo Weaving's character.
Yeah.
So that's where it's obviously that he's a bad guy. Now, luckily, one of his friends sees this, and this starts a subplot with Hugo Weaving's daughter, who realises that her dad is not quite the nice guy that she thought he was. So we're then treated to sort of the action scenes of them being in the wastelands, and Tom sort of not knowing what to do, how to survive out of a city.
Yeah, because he's never been out of London before.
Exactly, he's grown up on this massive beast, and he doesn't know how to live with silence and things like that.
And and it's just like, I think the fact of also the, like, even with the movie Waterworld with, I don't know, is it Kevin Costner?
Kevin Costner, yeah.
When they get, I would say it was a similar thing with that, like, not knowing what to do with that noise, but also the fact of not moving, because they mention in that when they get to land, it's like,
very
it
much
doesn't
feels like Waterworld. This movie is basically like a Waterworld kind of movie mixed with Mad Max. It's really interesting, and as the story goes on, you know, they're captured. Well, they're not captured. They're sort of saved by these.
They're saved, but then sold.
Saved by some slavers, and so they're going to get sold into slavery. And we get early on in the film, there's a wanted poster for this lady.
I can't remember her first name, but her first name or last name is Fang. That's what I remember.
So she ends up turning up to the auction and saving Esther.
Yeah.
And she's ready to kill Tom, but Tom actually gets saved as well because of the situation. Now we cut away, and there is a cyborg thing called the Arisen.
Yes.
And this is after Esther. Now this thing is unstoppable. Apparently, it's just a beast that cannot be stopped, and it's this. Basically, it's the Terminator. But it used to be a human, but now it's a machine, and it had its memory wiped. So it's in this prison, this cool little prison. It's like a giant crab walking across the ocean.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. I was like, wow, that's they on the water, like that's what they're doing. That's not bad. Like, they're just like, what, constantly just walking around in the ocean, like not just staying still. Like,
it's a good way to stop people escaping.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Hugo Weaving decides he wants to release this giant cyborg. Valentine. This is Hugo Weaving's character. So he shoots the leg out of its leg, Owen Hart style, and basically the whole thing starts collapsing, and then he shoots the cyborg thing loose.
It's prison free because he was informed by someone that apparently, you know, they're killers and all this sort of stuff, and apparently he's been told that he keeps saying the name of who he needs to kill, which of course is Hester, so that's why he springs him out, so to speak. So then he starts trailing off after Hester.
Yeah.
But this is where, like, one of the major spoilers is, so should we get into the other bit?
No, it turns out that the robot guy was actually the guy that saved Hester when she was a kid.
Yeah, and raised her. So when she was 8, Valentine paid her and her mum a visit, which he often did. And the first time when we did the flashback of that, I was like, ha! He's her dad.
Yeah.
That's that happens, and I was like, yeah.
However, it turns out that Hester's mother has recovered basically the launch system for the Medusa. And basically it's a laptop. So he sees it and immediately knows what it is and wants it, and ends up killing Hester's mother for it. Hester's mother gives her a little medallion thing that has the break sequence in it. So basically the abortion
they're
sequence.
shut down.
The kill switch.
Yeah.
So basically she runs away, she ends up in a bog, she gets helped by this cyborg, and you know, what's
And he
happened.
raises her.
Yeah. And anyway, she decides, he sort of built her a mechanical body.
Because he saw that she was always crying, always hurting. He's like, I can take away the pain and you can become like me.
Yeah.
And she was going to do it, but then
she ran away.
London's tracks changed and she knew that he was nearby, so she left to go and find Valentine so she could kill him.
Yeah.
So of course her cyborg dad thought she was just going back on her problem and she just left her. So he's coming back after her, just saying, like, the only thing he's basically saying is, you broke your promise to me.
Yeah. And he doesn't have the emotional feeling to actually understand that, no, maybe she didn't want that, or, you know, he doesn't understand what's going on.
But I think, like, when she was explaining it to Tom, I think she did want it because she just wanted the pain to go away, but then Valentine rocked up.
Exactly, but he doesn't understand the fact that she wants to take out Valentine. He doesn't understand why she doesn't want to go to the body.
I kind of also feel like, why didn't she just tell him, I need to go do something first,
Exactly,
and I'll be back?
I honestly think that's a big bit of the plot that's like a big plot hole, that she didn't just talk to him and say, look, I want to do this and I want to, you know, I want to actually kill him first and then
Because also, if like with what he went through to try and find her, like if she said, if she, you know, had the thing of, I think I know where the man who killed my mother is, I need to like go after him, I'm pretty sure he would help her out. Like,
I don't know though. I don't think he has the understanding to actually get that. He doesn't emotionally get it. He just thinks, well, why don't you become a robot first and then we'll kill him? I think that's the problem. He just doesn't have that bit to him. But well, it's tricky, and I think it does absolutely come across as a bit of a plot hole that she doesn't just talk to him. But anyway, so he comes up and finds them, and they end up on this giant airship.
Yeah, there's like a giant air kind of
platform, just an air city. It's a huge city in the sky. It's very cool, really cool. The visual. This movie is worth going to for the visuals alone.
It's fantastic because what's keeping it up is just like a whole bunch of hot air balloons, sort of blimps and balloons, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's just so simplistic and that just works. They're staying elevated because they must just be putting all this bloody hot air into the balloons.
It's actually, I'd say it's probably, not helium. What's the other one?
I don't know. I do not science.
No, whatever the Hindenburg had in it. Basically, it's a flammable gas that's lighter than air.
Okay.
When they first go on there, you see there's a no smoking sign and no electrical items, and that's because that would set it on fire and cause it to go up. So anyway, they're on there, the robot comes on, finds them, causes all kind of chaos, and they escape with Fang, and the crew manage to escape, and there's a few little airships that escape. So they go to the wall, which is basically this place where no
the mobile cities can't go.
Yeah, the mobile cities can't get through. Basically, it's Helm's Deep, and this is where the movie is kind of cool, but it's also kind of just like I'm not sure if I really like it, but I think some people will get annoyed by it. It reuses plot from other movies. So basically, we get the Battle of Helm's Deep, where London's coming. It's got the Medusa ray working, and it's going to rip apart the wall. And it does feel very much like the Battle of Helm's Deep, and it's just weird because, you know, it's Peter Jackson directing, and I'm pretty sure they actually reuse some of the props from the Battle of Helm's Deep, which is just so cool to me, and I love it because of that, but I think some people may have issue. So anyway, they decide they're going to attack London. Now, with this, they go up and the first wave of attackers gets destroyed. So you basically now get Star Wars. It's basically Star Wars. This is the best way I can put it. The run on the Death Star, that's what I really think it was like. But, as I said, it's very different and it is very cool still. So I really did enjoy it. So, with that
the thing also with why they're actually trying to get through the wall is Valentine is saying there's controversy or, you know, to fight or whatever between like the people who are on the cities and then the people who are beyond the wall, which basically they've kind of just stayed put and built the resources and just, you know,
just managed to live there.
Yeah, whereas and then they're just like, no, we're just gonna, you know, find the resources, because then
we want to take the resources. We don't want to have to work for it. We're going to take it for
because then
ourselves.
the argument is, well, your resources are one day gonna run out. Like, what happens when you just can't find anymore?
So there is that sort of slight subplot on it that you know, does speak to, you know, us, you know, what we're going to do when the resources run out.
Yeah.
So the battle goes, you know, they attack London, and the Medusa Ray has managed to take parts of the wall down. It destroys a massive chunk at the top, and then destroys a massive chunk in the middle, but the bottom is still remaining. So in this time, Valentine's daughter has managed to find out what's going on with one of Tom's friends.
He was the one who witnessed Tom being pushed in.
Yeah, and they sort of go up to St. Paul's Cathedral, which houses the Medusa Ray, which again was quite cool because they opened up the cathedral roof to get the Doomsday weapon out. And, you know, there's some very cool stuff in that respect. And then you get the attack. So basically, the group of airships start attacking London itself. And this is where it felt very much like the attack on the Death Star. So you had the guys going in, and of course you lose a couple of pilots, and they crash, they get destroyed. Fang manages to make it to St. Paul's Cathedral and drops off Esther and Tom.
No, Tom stays on the ship.
Oh yeah, sorry, drops off Fang and Esther get off, don't they?
Yes.
And
so then Fang acts as a diversion for Hester, so that Fang can get Valentine's attention focused on her. Then that way Hester is able to get to the control panel of the Medusa and shut it down because she has the key.
Yeah. So there's a great big fight, and there's a great fight between Fang and Valentine.
Then once that's over, Valentine comes out and his daughter confronts him, and then she's basically like, what have you done, like, and all this sort of stuff. And then so I think she leaves, and then he just kind of runs away and is like, alright, she's gone now, alright, let's take off. And then they can't, because then Hester's tied down the aircraft, and then they have a boss ass fight.
Yeah, just before that though, Hester manages to put in the dead key and stop the Medusa working, so the Medusa overloads and stops working. So the airship that he tries to escape, that Valentine tries to escape on, is tethered. So then they have a fight, and much like a New Hope, they're fighting on this bridge. She drops the weapon and is sort of cornered, and Valentine says he is her father, and I was just loving it, because it's not shot for shot like Star Wars, but it feels very much like it, which is just, it's one of those things that's just, oh my god, I can't believe you parodied this is amazing, I love it, rather than being annoyed about it. So finally they fight, and they're about to sort of crash, aren't they?
Yeah. So she then ends up refusing to kill him, and then she hops on the aircraft that Tom is now piloting and everything, and they leave. He then shoots Valentine's aircraft, that crashes down, he survives. I'm like, no way, you wouldn't survive that. And then London is coming by, rolling, and then it squishes him.
Just before this happens though, Tom flies into London's core and shoots the engine and destroys it.
Yeah.
And then flies out again. Much like Return of the Jedi with the Millennium Falcon. And they even have like a slight thing of Han Solo's coat sort of thing. And there are so much little things that are just cool little details that are just like, look, I love Star Wars, I'm just going to do this because it's fucking cool, and they do it. So anyway, Valentine gets crushed by London, and we sort of end with them.
All the Londoners are just walking out from London up to the ruins of what was shot off the wall, and the governor of, I can't remember the name of the place.
Yeah.
Him and the other soldiers are just waiting there, you know, guns at the ready, and then he calls them off, and you know, he holds out his hand to then accept Valentine's daughter. She's leading the Londoners to the wall. So
just
then
the
he
civilians,
takes,
you know, that's it. They're just civilians. So he leads the civilians. and they allow them to live at the
Yeah.
wall, you know, which
Yeah.
is one of those things. As I said,
And like
it's
the
really well
relief
done.
of, like, I was watching some of the, you know, some of the characters, like the relief on their faces that they're not gonna get shot up for this.
Yeah, it's, you know, because they didn't do anything about this. It's not their, they weren't fighting this. They were
Again, bringing up what I said before, like they were cheering, but it's also because they're like, yes, we want the resources, but then it's because then the pan shot that they give us when they first fly over the wall to, you know, do whatever, it's like, I wonder what they would think if they saw this and then be like, and then just see the ruins that you were trying to make of it. Like, how would you feel knowing that you destroyed this civilization of just people literally just sitting there minding their own business, making themselves survive?
Yeah, that's it. It's got that sort of thing of, you know, war is hell, but you know, there's the thing of, you know, civilians are still civilians. You know, it's not their fault. You know, so in that respect, it was really nice to actually have a film that actually talks about this and actually does say, you know, look, civilians are not. It's not their fault. They're not the ones that are doing this. You know, so it was really cool. And then we end with Hester and Tom on the airship.
Flying off into the distance, being like, where do we go now? Wherever we feel like. And they end in a friendship hug. Yes.
Female and male end in a friendship hug. It's so good. It's just nice to see, rather than just them being love interests after a couple of days, they end up being friends, which I really hope that continues. I'd really like them just to be friends rather than romance, because it's just like there's not enough.
Because also Tom is friends with Valentine's daughter, who's I think her name's Catherine. Yeah,
Right.
I only just remembered that now. So then the beginning of the movie, it looks like he's got a little bit of a crush on her. So it's like, yeah, don't be kissing her after 3 days, mate, because what about Catherine?
Exactly. So yeah, it was really nice in that respect. So that was really cool, and that's really the end of the movie. As I said, it borrows a lot from so many films, and it has this vibe of steampunk Star Wars, as I said, and it is just so frigging cool to have that. There's actually a comic book that was made that is basically Star Wars but steampunk, and it really reminded me of that. And it was so frigging cool, and just, as I said, the visuals are so cool, and the mechanical stuff is done in such a way that it looks like it actually would work.
It's also really good because it's in the future, but it's still it's still got it's in the future, but it's just so...
It's not sci-fi, it's in the future, but it's not science fiction.
Because then they've got a museum in London which Tom works at, and they've got the screen...
There is a really cool thing of what the Americans worship, the American gods they call them, which you have to see. The whole cinema laughed at it. It was very good.
No, I wasn't talking about that.
Oh,
I was talking about the screen age.
Oh yes,
they had all these tablets or TVs and iPhones, and they're like,
write anything down.
They're like, did they even know how to write? Like,
there were so many cool things like that. So yeah, in all honesty, I would really recommend this movie.
It was just really good because I liked how they just had that museum and were trying to piece together what everything was.
Yeah, there was no real history as to what happened with the war. We're not told how it started. We're just told that it lasted 60 seconds because all these bombs just went off at once, and they were just all over the world and broke the world, almost cracked the earth. It destroyed the earth basically, so continents started to form together.
Because then they had a map of what we had and then what they had, and it looked like they had about only like 3 continents or something.
So meanwhile, Australia's being Mad Max.
A friend who we were with, he's like, I'm pretty sure this is Mad Max, and like this is the same thing is happening over there.
Yeah. So yeah, really cool. And as I said, I would really recommend this movie to anyone that enjoys just fun, silly movies. It is just done really well. It's not one of those movies that I've seen a lot of hype for, but it's one of those movies that's just enjoyable. You could take your family to it. You could take anyone to this and have fun. As I said, no real young kids, but if you've got sort of teenage kids and stuff, you could take them, and it's just a fun movie to watch. And as I said, the last thing from me really for it is steampunk, so it's just like
Yeah.
a steampunk.
Yeah, because I think I saw trailers for it sometime last year, and
Yeah,
then
same.
I remember waking up New Year's Day this year and then seeing a new trailer for it, and then it showed Hugo Weaving in it. I'm like, ooh! My boyfriend rolls over. What? Hugo Weaving's in the new steampunk movie. Oh, rolls back over, goes back to sleep.
Yeah, we had it sold on that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the final thought.
Amazing. I love the world, and our friend who also mentioned that it's about a 4-book series or something, so
Yeah.
he's like, so it would be really interesting if they continue. Like I would definitely like to see more of this world.
Yeah, please go and see it to make sure it makes money so we can get another one, because
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it would be really fun.
Like I'm definitely
But
hanging out for it.
The
when
thing is, it doesn't
it's on
need
DVD.
it's one of those movies that doesn't need a sequel.
Yeah, you could definitely do without the rest of it, but it
Yeah.
really, like if they do it, it would be really great if they just, you know,
It could be cool
stick
to have
it.
something.
Yeah, because he said, because this friend had also like read the book as well, and he's like, they've pretty much done it. Like,
Yeah.
there's not much that they've done incorrectly or anything.
Yeah.
So it's pretty great how they've stuck to the book and, you know, like being true to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as I said, I would really recommend this movie, and I had a great time with it.
Yep, it was really fun.
And I guess we will end it there.
Yep.
Thank you
that's
so
about
much
it.
for watching. Please give the channel a like, comment, subscribe. You know, the usual
Yep,
things that we
yep.
say in this kind of era.
If
Please
you want to hear our rants about stuff, like just leave a comment, and we've got nothing better to do with our lives, so we may as well, you know,
do stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, and please go to Steam and Sticks, because
Yeah.
she's very talented. She's got some fantastic
Because I'm
music.
more steampunk than he is. My whole thing is steampunk. I'm called Steam and Sticks.
But are you in the steampunk calendar? No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Lies.
Oh, it's a bit upsetting because I didn't actually like that photo because I just look like a fat mump. I'm like, oh,
Was it
we
the
got
one
to
where you look like Peter's son?
No.
Okay, anyway, please visit Steam and Sticks. She's great. She's
Yeah.
fantastic. And we will catch you all next time.
Bye. See yous. Hope you've enjoyed the black screen for about the past 5 minutes.
Yeah, lovely black screen. We'll finally get some
We're finally
light.
home, and
light
now
on
we can
things.
see light.
There we go. Some light on us at last.
Yeah.
Till next time, this is
Alright.
me, Carl Scree.
And Steam and Sticks.
Bye-bye.
Alright, see us.
Come.
Yeah, right. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe too much.
Yeah.
Aha, you lost it.
3.
Alright. Put your seatbelt on, Carl.
I am. I'm just getting into position.
Uh-huh. Engine running.
Engine's running.
Flux capacitor capacity.
Flux is fluxing. Alright.
That's all I got. That's all my car knowledge.
Well, flux capacitors aren't actually a part of
Very good.
They're part of a time machine. They're actually part of a time machine. And the flux capacitor was actually part of a time machine, not a car, although it was in a car. It's not actually an essential part of a car.
Over there.
I know! Backseat driver.
Just trying to look important.